Okay, I'm Doris, and today we're going to do raspberry jam. Now, if you notice, I have a cup right here, and when you do raspberry jam, you can pick them yourself, or you can buy them already picked and in baskets in the store. But when you come home, you have to clean them and make sure they're nice and clean. If you notice, I had to clean some of them because some of them, have the little dried up seeds, and we don't want none of that in our berries. Not when we're doing jam. So we can just take them right off and everything, and we picked a whole bunch. Now, the recipe calls for 4 cups of crushed berries. Now, if you notice, if you take just 4 cups, that's what you have. But they have to be crushed. So a full cup of berries, once you turn around and crush them all up, you'll see the difference. So don't just count 4 cups and say, okay, good enough, I can have 4 cups. So, even though you have a big bowl like this, it takes about a bowl like that to do a batch. But when you crush them all up, you really end up with about a half a cup. Now, the recipe calls for 4 cups of crushed raspberries. Here you are with crushed. So you have, just a full rounded cup. We'll give you just a little more than half. So you've got to add some more berries to that because it's got to be exact 4 cups of crushed berries. Okay? So 4 cups of crushed berries, and then I'll take you to the cooking part. There we go. We'll get this all set up here. All right. And then what you need is 6½ cups of sugar. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is turn this on. Now, if you notice, I have my lids. And they have the rubber band on it. And I'm going to turn that on right on to high so that can just heat right up hot. And it allows the rubber to soften up a little bit, and that'll help to seal your jars. Okay? And to get your berries down to boiling, it takes about 10 to 12 minutes. But you add your 4 cups of crushed berries, 6½ cups of sugar, and then we add 1 tablespoon of butter. If you ask why butter, well, the butter helps to cut down on the foam that's built up when it's boiling at high speed. So this is just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like as it continues. Okay, and then we have our pectin, liquid fruit pectin. Okay, it takes 1 pouch to make 1 batch of these berries. Now, before you even start cooking and melting the sugar down into your berries and everything, you want to make sure you cut your top, you have a spoon ready, because when it's at its full boil, that's when you add your pectin, not beforehand. It's not one of those things where you throw all the ingredients in and go with it. And a lot of times they say to empty that into a container to make sure you get everything out of the pouch. Well, if you use a tablespoon, you'll get everything you can. And to me, if you put it in another container, then you're losing some more of that pectin. And if you don't have the full package, it's not going to work out so good on your batch. Okay? So, remember, 4 cups of crushed berries to 6½ cups of sugar, and then 1 tablespoon of butter or margarine, and of course your 1 pack of pectin. That's what you need for jams. You got to have it for jam. If you don't have it, don't bother. It'll be all liquefied. Okay, now we have these cute little jars, And the good thing about these little jars is they make good gift giving. So in the summertime is a good time when the raspberries are out for you to think about people you want to put on your Christmas list. Because something homemade is beautiful. Especially if you have an elderly neighbor or grandparents or an old aunt and uncle or whatever. They love the fresh stuff. Homemade, it comes from the heart. And believe it or not, a little jar like this can cost you about $4. So if you have the berries hanging around, this is a good thing to do with them. You can also just freeze them if you're not into making the jam, but you still want to give a gift to an elderly neighbor or whatever. Freeze your raspberries in the summertime, and you can make a raspberry pie when it comes time for holidays. Okay, this is starting to boil. You notice my water here with the covers are boiling. And a lot of times you'll see in the recipes, you know, to put it in the jars and then put it in hot bath and everything. Well, if you go this way, you don't have to do that. Because when people start looking, oh, I got to put it in a hot bath, then they start thinking, oh my God, this is a lot of work. And it shouldn't be that hard. I've been doing this for over 30 years and it comes out perfect. So what I do is I boil them, let it come to a nice boil, and then I just turn this off because when this starts boiling, I'm going to need to be paying attention to this, not that. Okay, and that's going to finish this. Another little trick I have so that you don't have to put it in the hot bath thing is after I get them put in the jars, and I wash your rim real good after, to make sure you get all the sugars and the jam and everything off your rim on the outside, whatever may have spilled over. And then you put your cap on, you seal it good and tight, is I put it upside down. And I leave it that way for about 15 minutes. Then I flip them back up, and they're guaranteed to seal every time. Okay? And a good thing about putting little labels on so you can say it comes from you, special package or whatever. Okay. You notice I'm up to a full boil. Gonna wait just a little bit more. After you come to a full boil, one that you can't stir back down, you count 1 minute. Make sure it's a good minute. So I'm keeping an eye on the clock on the stove. Okay. Really good boil. Now you'll want to not wear a pretty fancy clothes when you're doing this, because when this comes to a full boil like this, you can have some spillovers and everything. And if this is the first time of you doing it, you might want a bigger pot too. But I use this pot just so maybe you can see better into it. Okay, here's our full boil. That's not going. I've left it 1 whole minute. And now I'm going to add my peptin. Pour it right in there. You notice the boil comes a little bit down. There we go. This really makes a good gift to give, because of course elderly people, they really love it, especially if they're the type that used to do the jamming themselves. But in the summertime is when you start thinking about Christmas, you know, and the gifts, and, you know, if you want to do a gift basket and everything, because of course you can always find a lot of baskets in yard sale and dress them all up, you know, with lace and hot glue and whatever to make it your own. So then you can add the jam to this. I'll also be showing you later in other videos canning, string beans and everything. They're about ready. They're floured, and I have some babies. There we go. We're back up to a boil. It's boiling again. Give it a minute. And believe me, by the time you get them put in the jars, they're starting to cool down, and you'll see they're thickening right up. So there'll be no problem with jam. Beautiful thing to have in the wintertime when it's snowing outside to have some nice raspberry jam. Really nice. Okay, and if you want to decorate your jars for gift giving, you can definitely do that. Just get some Christmas material. Cut a circle, probably about the size of a sandwich plate. Okay, a little bit more. You want to give that little extra room that it needs, so you kind of just go right to the rim. Okay? I usually can in bigger containers, but this here is going to be for gift giving. So, for gift giving, we give some gift packages, gift size. Okay, and you know that when you buy, you know, if you're going to start canning for the first time because it's safer and you know, doesn't have all that preservative stuff added to it for your family, and this is your first adventure with canning and everything, to save money, you do know that the only things you throw away are the rings. You don't throw away, not the rings, our little covers here. The rings you keep, because after that you can just buy a box of, geez, what do they call them? The little covers anyhow. I'll show you in a minute here. There'll always be a little bit left. And if you notice, one batch will give you 6 of these little half pints, and then give you enough left over to put in the refrigerator so you can enjoy some right now. There we go. Now, I'm going to put that over here. You go around and you just clean around, just your top. Just for any spillovers, because you're always going to have some. And we don't want that to interfere with the ceiling or when people want to open up the jars to enjoy the beautiful treat you've given them. There we go. Wow, this one's spilt on my label, but look at that. I wiped it off right away. Did not stain. In the old days, they used to use raspberry for coloring in your clothes. Okay. So you can buy a box with just these here, you know, with the rubber, and that's what, the only piece you throw away when you're done eating, okay? We'll put our rings right on. I'll get my pot holder here so I can hold on, 'cause believe me, hot sugar is really hot. Nice and tight, and then I flip it upside down for 15 minutes. And then after that, flip them back over, and I cover them with a dish towel while they cool down, even when I have them upside down, because that helps to hold the heat in. That way you have time to completely seal. And by putting it upside down, it warms up the cover. It warms up the little rubber. So if it didn't loosen up enough in the when I boiled it, then it surely will doing it this way. All right. I hope you've enjoyed my jamming, and I will be doing some canning of string beans, Of course, the spinach, we just freeze that because I use a lot of spinach when I make stuffed shells. Okay, so we have them all upside down. We just cover them, wait 15 minutes, flip them over, and recover. And then that's it. And you'll see, they all seal, and the way to test them, if they seal, is press the center. If it pops back up, you didn't have a good seal, and this is one you'll put in the refrigerator. But these are all sealed. This was my first batch, and there you go. Happy jamming. Bye-bye.